So let me ask you a controversial question. What if the future of housing isn't ownership, but renting instead? For almost 20 years, the housing model in the GTA followed a very familiar script. Developers built condominium towers, investors bought those units before construction even finished. And over time, rising prices made that strategy look almost unbeatable. But you see, something is quietly changing in the market right now. And if you're trying to buy your first condo in the GTA, saving for a down payment or investing in pre-construction units, this shift could change everything. That is your strategy, your timeline, and possibly even whether owning makes sense right now. Because when you step back and you look at the biggest housing stories across Canada lately, something very interesting starts to appear. Developers are changing strategies, investors are changing strategies, even regulators are starting to watch the market more closely. And one trend keeps showing up again and again. More and more builders are focusing on purpose-built rental housing. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Claudia Ragona. I'm one of the Ragona sisters. Today we're going to talk about something that is quietly reshaping Canada's housing market, specifically here in the GTA. But really across this country. Right now, if you line up several of the biggest real estate stories that came out recently, they all point to the same conclusion. Our housing landscape is changing, and it's changing faster than most people realize. And the shift we're beginning to see is away from a market driven primarily by investor condos, but towards a market that includes far more purpose-built rental housing instead. So let's start with a story out of the GTA that perfectly illustrates what's happening. An investment firm called High Art Capital has launched a $1.3 billion fund with a very specific strategy. Their plan is to purchase newly completed condominium units across the GTA that haven't sold and convert them into rental housing. Their target? Roughly 2,200 rental units purchased directly from developers. And about 550 of those units will be designated as affordable housing, meaning rents will remain permanently below market levels. Some of those units will be offered at roughly 25% below market rent or priced at about 30% of median household income, whichever is lower. So let's pause here for a moment and think about what this really means. These condominiums were originally built expecting to sell to individual buyers, people like you or someone you know. Instead, large investors are stepping in and purchasing these units in bulk and operating them as long-term rentals. And that tells us something very important as to what's happening in the market right now. For years, condo construction in Toronto relied heavily on investor buyers. Many investors would purchase units before the building was even completed. Those are called pre-sales. Those pre-sales allow developers to secure financing and move forward with construction. But the environment that supported that model has now changed. Interest rates are higher, borrowing costs are higher, and the investment math that once made condo speculation extremely attractive simply isn't as appealing as it used to be. And as a result, investor demand for pre-construction condos has slowed significantly. And that slowdown is forcing developers and investors to rethink their strategies. So instead of selling units one by one to individual investors, we're beginning to see institutional investors purchasing entire blocks of units and converting them into rental housing. And that represents a major shift in how the market operates. You might be already seeing signs of this shift in your own neighborhood. Maybe you're noticing for rent signs popping up instead of for sale signs. Or perhaps it feels like fewer people are jumping into pre-construction projects. Now, when we zoom out and look at the broader housing market across Canada, the signals become very clear. Canada's National Housing Agency, the CMHC, expects housing construction to slow in the coming years, particularly in the condo sector. At first glance, housing start numbers may look fairly strong. Canada recorded about 259,000 housing starts for 2025. And according to CMHC's estimates, Canada would need to build roughly 430,000 to 480,000 homes every single year for the next decade just to close the supply gap. So while the headline numbers may sound strong, we are still significantly behind in housing supply. In other words, this country is still digging out of a housing deficit that has been building for years. At the same time, developers are facing a completely different financial environment than they did just a few years ago. Construction costs remain high, financing costs remain elevated, and perhaps most importantly, pre-sales for new condo projects have slowed dramatically. Most condominium developments depend on large percentage of units being sold before construction even begins. So if those pre-sales don't happen, lenders are often unwilling to finance the project. When that happens, developers are forced to make a difficult decision. That is, projects get delayed, projects get redesigned, and sometimes the projects simply just don't move forward. And this is one of the reasons we're seeing many developers explore purpose-built rental housing instead. Rental buildings don't rely on pre-sales in the same way. Instead, developers or institutional investors can hold the building and generate long-term rental income. And that type of steady income stream is becoming increasingly attractive to large investors like pension funds and asset managers. Now, let's bring this a little closer to home. The housing data shows that Toronto home sales declined compared to the same time last year. Inventory levels have increased, buyers are taking more time before making decisions, and sellers are gradually adjusting their expectations. And none of this means that we're having a housing market collapse. What it means is that the market is adjusting after a period of extremely cheap borrowing when interest rates were at historic lows and when borrowing money was inexpensive and demand surged. Investors flooded into the condo market and prices rose very quickly. But see, today's market is operating under very different conditions. Mortgage rates are higher now, financing is more expensive, and many buyers are approaching the market with far more caution. And all of these changes are influencing how developers plan future projects. Another development that caught attention recently involves Canada's banking regulator, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institution, or OSFI. The regulator has warned major lenders about appraisal practices tied to condominium developments. In simple terms, regulators want to ensure that the property's valuations used to finance these condo projects are being assessed carefully and realistically. And why does this matter? Because those builders rely on that financing to fund their major construction projects. So if valuations become overly optimistic during uncertain market conditions, financial risks can increase. So regulators are encouraging lenders to remain cautious when financing condo developments. Again, this doesn't mean that the condo sector is collapsing, but it does highlight that the market is entering a more cautious phase. Now let's look at another example that highlights the shift toward rental housing. One of the largest development projects currently planned in Toronto involves the transformation of the area surrounding Fairview Mall. This project will eventually convert the area into a new mixed-use community with residential towers, retail space, transit access, and public parks. And one of the major components of this redevelopment is purpose-built rental housing. Projects like this are becoming increasingly common in major Canadian cities. Instead of relying entirely on condominium sales, developers are incorporating rental towers into large master plan communities. Why? Because rental housing provides a different type of financial stability. Instead of selling units once and moving on, investors can hold the building and generate rental income for decades. So in many ways, these buildings are beginning to be viewed as a long-term infrastructure investment. And there are several reasons why this shift toward rental housing is happening. Canada has accumulated a significant housing shortage. Homeownership has become more difficult for many households. Institutional investors are searching for stable income-producing assets, and government financing programs increasingly support rental housing development. At the same time, Canada's population growth policies are evolving. After several years of extremely rapid population growth, the federal government has recently reduced immigration targets and introduced caps on certain temporary resident programs. The goal was to slow the population growth temporarily while housing supply catches up. But Canada still relies heavily on immigration to support its labor force and long-term economic growth, which means Population growth will likely remain an important factor in housing demand for many years to come. Now, none of this means that condominiums are disappearing. Condos will always remain an essential part of housing in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, but the balance of development may be shifting. For the past 2 decades, condo construction dominated urban development because pre-sales allow developers to finance projects very quickly. Today, we're beginning to see a more diverse model emerge. Some projects will still be condominiums, others will be rental towers, and many developments will include a combination of both. For buyers and investors watching the market, this shift carries several important lessons. First, the era of easy pre-construction speculation may be slowing down. Second, rental demand in cities like Toronto remains extremely strong because of housing supply has struggled to keep up with the demand. And that's one of the reasons institutional investors are entering the rental market in a major way. But perhaps the most important takeaway is this: the housing market isn't collapsing, it's evolving. Real estate markets are always changing, and the people who succeed in real estate are usually the ones who recognize these shifts early. So let's talk about the winners and losers quickly here. For renters, more purpose-built rental housing could mean professionally managed buildings, better amenities, and more stability. But rents may not drop immediately because supply still needs to catch up. First-time buyers, short-term, fewer investor buyers could mean slightly less competition. But long-term, if more housing remains permanently rental, fewer entry-level resale units may be available. For small investors, you're now competing with billion-dollar institutional funds buying entire blocks of units. That doesn't mean opportunities disappear. It just means strategy matters more than ever. And for developers, many are beginning to prefer the stability of rental income over the uncertainty of pre-sales. So when you step back and connect all these headlines, unsold condos converting to rentals, construction patterns are shifting, regulators monitoring risks more closely, and major redevelopment projects prioritizing rental communities, well, you start noticing that one thing becomes very clear. Canada's housing landscape is evolving. Developers are adapting, investors are adapting, and our cities are changing along with them. So the real question isn't whether the shift toward purpose-built rental housing is happening, because it already is. The real question is how large that shift will become over the next decade, because the housing model that shaped the past 20 years may not be the same model that shapes the next 20. And in real estate, the people who recognize those shifts early are usually the ones who stay ahead of this market. Hopefully, this gave you a clearer perspective on what's happening across the real estate landscape right here in the GTA. We help people navigate these exact decisions every single day, whether that means buying now, renting longer, or investing strategically. And if you're unsure how the shift might affect your situation, you can book a one-on-one strategy call with us using the link in the description. And if this video made you rethink your next move, hit like, subscribe for more GTA real estate insights, and let us know in the comments, do you see yourself owning or renting long-term? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.